Greetings. So if there's one group of people I've learned that I loathe, just because I find just the fake-ass behavior just disingenuous, it's fucking self-loathing white people. Yeah, I'm white. So when I deal with people that talk about how they're an ally again for some cause or something, but they're really just somebody who parrots talking points from the MSM, it's sad because I know these people are intelligent, but they found their new little religion to believe in. Just like veganism, just like hardcore bicyclists, they find some cause that they find a bunch of people they agree with, and they feel really good championing it. And the funniest part is on this one chick, relative of mine, she's a grandmother of a half Haitian child, which, cool, whatever. But the fucking daughter that she raised is in prison for attempted murder. So now super woke grandma, who's done well for herself. She's made decent money over the course of her life. She worked hard for it. It wasn't anybody else's money. It was a lot of her work and ambition over the course of time. But she's like watching the MSM, and she's voting liberal. She's like one of these chicks that says, "Well, I'm not a liberal. I mean, I'm middle of the road. I just vote for what I think is the best thing." But then you hear her parroting all the talking points, all the female points, all the fucking racial points. It's like rock MSM speech, rock. And you're sitting there, you're like, hey, have you ever thought about that? And you try to point out any sort of logical point to these people, and halfway through the point they just explode. And you're like, okay, you're fucking insane. And I can handle this only to a certain point. But we were in a restaurant, and it was a black restaurant. We're down in the South because it looked like a good restaurant, to be honest. And I want to make something perfectly clear. I'm born in 1980, so I was raised West Coast. Martin Luther King was heavily enforced, like the idea of judging people by the merit, not by their skin color and all that shit. Like, judge them by their actions. And then as far as court cases, we were always told, judge it by the evidence, not your feelings. But I see the same people that would have said that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, now, because her half Haitian grandson that she's raising because she did such a wonderful job raising her fucking daughter. I see a situation where this woman has become every single talking point of the MSM or what late night TV. And the idea of you send counter evidence. You find a video online that shows that what they're saying is fucking bullshit, and they're like, that's just some crap from the internet. And so they get so entrenched into these positions that we're having a conversation, and unfortunately the fucking news was on when we were in this restaurant. So she starts looking up at this trial. Apparently black jogger, some dudes thought he was robbing the place, and they tried to do a citizen's arrest that went horribly fucking wrong. And so everybody's trying to say, oh, it's racial, it's a white guy shooting a black guy. Now, notice this, when they say white guy shooting a black guy, people are like, oh, well, how many more white people are shot by blacks? Does that even ring a bell to anybody? Does that even fucking matter to you? Oh, it doesn't, because it's not the narrative you want to see. And that's what scares me about people. That it's a narrative for people. It's not about what's right or wrong. It's a narrative. But what about countless numbers of black men that are put in the grave or prison because of some beef on the streets of territory or fucking gang shit? Whatever. You looked at my shoes wrong or some crap. Oh, do you have anything to say on those cases? And immediately she's like, that's not the point. These guys for over a year haven't been put on trial. I'm like, yeah, that's unconstitutional. They should have had a quick, speedy trial. I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, why are we even concerning ourselves with that? I mean, since the trial's going to happen, let it figure it out. Let the evidence come out and figure it out. And this isn't good enough. This fucking relative of mine starts, and mind you, she's Mediterranean, olive white skin, white most of the time, and tans well. She's all like, you're just mad that people of your demographic are losing control. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a shit either way. How many times do I gotta say on these political issues and all these other things? I stopped caring years ago about what the fucking right or the left were doing because neither one of them seemed good for the country. And as far as these trials, I just see this as a giant puppet show trial. Why do I need to care about this? Why do I need to involve myself with it? What good does it do me or anybody else for that matter? And why? And then I'm like, why are you so involved? Why do you know about all this but not all these other things? And of course, when I walk out, because I'm about ready to straight up, deck my fucking sister, I walk out to go get like a Powerade or something, and leave the restaurant, go over there, and I know she immediately started talking shit about me. Because she's such a fucking... Here's the thing, for someone that's built that much power, you've sure learned to be a fucking suck up for some virtue points, and you're virtue signaling. And I wonder if the black folks, where it's like, see, understandably, there's good hard-working people, and then there's fuck-ups in every group of people, and you can demographically, you can count the numbers and whatnot, but still, yeah, there's still lots of good people out there. I wonder if all the good, hard-working black folks, how they feel when some white savior fucking shows up. I'm gonna save the black community. And mind you, though, this bitch isn't building low-income housing. I was talking about taking one of my houses up in Idaho and turning it into a 5-bedroom studio, so, you rent that out for $500 per person per month, and just have 5 people living there, and then I'd live in the garage. So it'd be like $2,500 a month. You don't want those type of clients. The lower the rent, the less you make. So she becomes really fucking practical about that shit. She becomes really practical about that. But is she going out and building a low-income housing in some parts of the South or the urban areas? Is she investing into that? Oh, hell no. It's all business when it comes to money. But then she thinks, well, I'm going to hire only black contractors. I'm like, well, why only black? Well, I want to give back to the community. Where did you hear this idea? Like, why does that matter? Why not just hire them because they're good at their job? And she also even said, oh, I'm going to hire them because they don't get hired enough, and they also generally give better deals. Well, why does this sound like the similar thing? I said, well, was this your policy up in Idaho? Because I don't remember you ever being this way. Well, I'd hire Latinos once again. Latinos, in that case, end up having 2 or 3 people that are legal, and then the rest of the crew is fucking illegals, where you could basically be like, oh, hey, it's way cheaper because you're not paying full wages. You're not paying realistic wages to these people. Oh, you're really giving back. But the part that pisses me off is trying to paint a regular sensible guy as a fucking racist, because I don't agree with your politics and I don't agree with your fucking agenda. Like, I'm trying to escape all of it. And I'm at the point where I was never so fucking happy to be back in my truck. When I got back into my truck, I was like, yeah, back to the sane world. Back to where something actually fucking makes sense. This is OTR Ogre and Corey. And my advice when it comes to dealing with family is don't, if you can. Don't deal with them. And you can choose your friends, you can't choose your family, but there's nothing as blissful as inner peace. So I know which way I'm going when it comes to like dealing with people and family and all that bullshit, because I'm a goddamn done with this shit. It's like that song, fuck this shit, I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Sorry, it's a long rant. Like, link, and subscribe.